Hello, my name is Luis Salas, and today I will be going into detail on schemes on how to buy a used computer for someone, such as a single mother, who isn't very familiar with computers. I'll be going over brands you want to look for, a budget that you should consider, and how to figure out if you're getting a good deal. Then I'll go into detail on how to test the computer to make sure it's 100% functional and other things to look for to avoid being ripped off. A little bit of background about me. I am in my fourth year of information technology here at UMKCC, which is the University of Missouri Kansas City. I should be graduating next year in December. I've been using computers since I was 13, since I got my first computer. So I have been able to use, a variety of computers and kind of have an idea of, which ones are more reliable than the other ones. And I wanted to make this video so I could share this knowledge and hopefully help someone out who's not as familiar with computers, in case they're trying to buy a computer for their child. So in this case, for someone who probably doesn't have internet at home, I would recommend to get a laptop instead of a PC, since a laptop is portable compared to the PC that's mainly going to be stationary and on a desk at home. We want to have a laptop so that you can take it with you and use like a Wi-Fi at a public place like a library or a Starbucks or a McDonald's. Alright, so if we go to Facebook, for example, right now I'm on my computer. If say you go to Facebook and you go to the marketplace, go ahead and type in laptop into the search bar and go over here to the parameters and change the price. This is going to be the minimum. Change it to 150 and then go to the price maximum and put in 300. Depending on your location, you can set the location radius within 100 miles to within 1 mile, 2 miles. It just depends on how far you're willing to travel. Sometimes you can have them meet up with you. But if we go over here, first thing that catches my eyes is this Lenovo. So once you find a laptop that you're interested in, most of the time they're gonna give you the model. And so we see here this one's a Lenovo X1 Carbon laptop. And it has some specs right here. It has 128 gigabyte of storage. It's a SSD and 4 gigabytes of RAM. So it's pretty decent. If you look at the pictures, you can get a better idea of the shape that the computer's in. And right here, it tells you the processor. It has an i5 CPU processor, which is a fairly well processor. If we take this information, hold on. So they're asking for 175 for it. So we want to take this information and go over to eBay. I have it looked up right here. So go to eBay, basically put in the brand, the model right here, and then since this is not the newest model, you want to go ahead and type in the CPU model right here so that it brings it down to the exact computer. See, and then you want to go ahead and go down here to the parameters and make sure that it's the same parameters. So go here, see, 4 gigabyte and 128 gigabyte of storage, and then also go down here for buying format. Go to show only completed items. If you do this, then it's going to show up only the items that have been sold. So these are items that people have bought for these prices, so you get an idea of what people are paying for these computers. So if you see this, the average is like about 200, 220, depending on the condition. But for the most part, it's around that area. Some might be a little bit cheaper because they got them. They won on a bid, and for the most part, you get an idea of what the price of the computer should go for, and that way, if you do decide to message the person who's selling it, then you can offer them a deal. Always try to make an offer less than what they're asking for, and go from there. See if they're willing to negotiate. You could also go to a Craigslist as well and look up laptops and do the same thing. Look up, change the price range and look up laptops here, and then just do the same thing. Go to eBay and get an idea of the price range they're going for, and compare that to what they're asking for, and try to bargain with them. Now, if we take these things into consideration and use them as parameters, I could recommend to use either Facebook Marketplace if you use Facebook or you have an account. If you have access to internet, like on your phone, I'd recommend to make a Facebook profile. Facebook Marketplace is fairly new, but basically it's like a Craigslist, where people post their stuff that they're selling. But I feel like Facebook is a bit safer, since you can look at the person who's selling his profile and kind of get an idea of what kind of person they are. So it's less sketchy as far as meeting up with them, and kind of gives you a little bit more of comfort. Some brands that I would recommend to look for and laptops would be Dell, HP, Lenovo, Asus. Those are pretty reliable computers that I've been able to use in the past. Everybody's gonna have a different budget for this, but if you're buying it for your kid's first laptop, I think you should look around the budget of like $150 to $300. I think that's a good range. Alright, so at this point, if you've decided that you want to purchase the item after you've agreed with the person on a price, so now you want to meet up with them and obviously look at the laptop before finalizing the deal. So first off, you want to make sure that the person has the power adapter with the computer that charges the computer. If they don't have one, then it could be possible that they have a stolen computer, and so definitely you don't want to purchase it from them. Also, another thing to consider is if the computer has a login lock and they don't know the password. That's another red flag. And thirdly, if you ask them questions and they can't answer any, you should probably consider not buying it. Alright, so a couple of things that you want to take with you to use to test the computer. Want to take a CD disc. If the computer has a CD disc reader, just try to take a CD with you to see. It could be a DVD or a music CD, like MP3. Take a CD with you and just put it into the CD reader and see if it'll work. Also, another thing you want to take with you are like a pair of headphones to plug it into the headphone jack to make sure that it's working, the audio's gonna pass through. The next thing you want to take, if you don't have one, I'd recommend to buy one because they're so cheap now. It would be a USB drive, just basically a little small hard drive. You could probably get one for about $10, and just take one so that you can plug it into the USB ports on the side of the computer to make sure that they're working. Otherwise, if your son has homework from school, they need to put on a hard drive to take it to school. They won't be able to, since the USB ports don't work. You also want to check to make sure that the Wi-Fi adapter is working. Depending on if it's a Windows computer or if it's a MacBook, might want to look beforehand if you're not sure how to look at it. But usually it's a little umbrella looking logo thing that has bars. You want to click on it, and it should be scanning for Wi-Fi, for network basically. If you meet up with the person, I would recommend meeting up at a public place like that has Wi-Fi, so like a McDonald's, a Starbucks, or a library. That way you can connect to the internet and make sure that it does work. And then also you want to check the hinges on the laptop to make sure that they're sturdy and not just falling down by themselves. Also, I should have mentioned it first, but to check the battery, check the percentage of the battery when you first start looking at it. If it drops by quite a bit, let's say, I would say, depending on how long you take a look at it, but if it drops more than 10% within about 5 minutes or so, I would pretty sure that the battery is not gonna hold a charge very well. So might reconsider it. Might not. It depends, because you can definitely keep the power adapter plugged into it and keeping it charged. That's what a lot of people do, but it just depends if it's important to you or not. But now that we're talking about power adapter, also obviously if they have the power adapter, make sure to plug it into the computer and make sure you see if it's charging the battery. Usually the little battery logo will show that it's charging or if it's not charging. And then lastly, depending on the OS, if it's Mac, open up Text Edit, or if it's Windows, open up Notepad, and just test all the keys on the laptop to make sure that they're all working. Make sure they're not sticky. So yeah. So some pros and cons of using free or cheap Wi-Fi. So the pros is obviously if it's free, well, it's free. There's nothing better than free. If it's cheap, then it's definitely gonna be more affordable than the expensive internet. Some of the cons would be if you're using like DSL, it's not going to be very reliable. If you're using dial-up, then if you have a phone, you can't use the internet and talk on the phone at the same time, because you can only do one or the other. I would recommend, though, if you have a neighbor that you think might have Wi-Fi, I would definitely ask them if they'd be willing to share the Wi-Fi with you guys, even if you have to pay a fee or half of it. That's what I did whenever I was younger. My neighbor, I asked him if he could share the internet with me, and I would, if he could charge me, that'd be fine. I would pay him every month, and we agreed on a fee of $15. Maybe have your child try to go and pay it, have them do chores or something and you give them an allowance so they can pay for that. This will teach them some responsibility, some accountability, as well as having them do chores for you. That's going to be obviously very helpful. So yeah, these are all things that you want to consider when trying to buy a computer, and just really use these methods, especially checking the price, making sure you're getting a good deal. Like I said, always try to negotiate, um, and just make sure that you test the computer very well out whenever you get it. Don't get too trusty with a person just because they give you a good vibe, because you could end up losing your money because they scammed you or they ripped you off. But hopefully this is very helpful for you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you.